Yesterday I watched it on YouTube. Now I know it's a fact.
G'day, it's me, the anti-theocrat, with you for another one. Now, I was hoping to leave this story alone. It's just one of those fucking beat-up stories I just don't give a shit about. But it's just going on, and, you know, these things give me the shits enough that I thought I might as well let you know about it so you can have the shits too. And maybe you won't have the shits. Maybe you're one of those sorts of people who thinks the world is a beautiful and lovely place and it's all flowers and lovely smells and roses, you know. You've never fucking lived in the shit like the rest of us. In any case, here's our story. The 7:30 report with the ABC, supposedly investigative journalism, has discovered that racehorses go to knackeries. Now, they call it an abattoir. I don't know if it is an abattoir. There's a pretty distinct difference between a knackery and an abattoir. One is for disposing of animals that are no longer wanted, and the other is for, well, producing meat for human consumption. Now, I've worked in abattoirs. I've worked on the kill floor. I've worked in the cutting rooms. I've worked in the refrigeration. I've loaded trucks. I know they're not the prettiest place for those of you with sensitive feels and so forth. But at the same time, it's just a reality of life that we humans do eat meat, that it is a part of our evolutionary development that we ate animal protein. And, well, we are still the omnivores that we always were. We don't overcome that overnight. In any case, I like the taste of meat. I have raised my own animals. I've bred chickens, sheep, goats. Hang on, I've owned goats. I haven't actually bred goats. And my parents had a cattle farm which I ran for a while and helped out on. I've also owned horses and ridden horses, and I like horses. I adore horses. I think they're nice animals. I sold mine on because they're also bloody expensive to run, which is part of why this happens. So horse racing is facing an existential threat. I thought it was a pretty direct threat myself, and failing to grapple with it. Well, what do you do, right? The purpose of this industry is to race horses, and they have to be fast, and they have a certain age range within which they work. Okay, like all athletes, they can only work so much of their life. So we'll call a racehorse about 5 years old, okay, 4 to 5 years old. My two horses were both ex-racehorses. One was apparently quite a very fast trotter, but they were sold cheap, and I bought them cheap from the person who bought them from the racing industry, and I sold them on again when I couldn't use them. I'm told that the trotter actually went out to stations to do station work, so I'm glad for him. The older fella, he died. But yeah, not many racehorses get that opportunity to go out and do stock work, and there are a lot of reasons why that is so. A stock horse is a horse that's raised to do certain work from early on in its life, and I have seen racehorses put into stock work, but not all racehorses are suited to it. You're better off taking an old hack of a workhorse that's had its day and looks like it's run down. I actually had a neighbour on a farm when we were doing cattle. He picked up a horse that was essentially dying, but he knew it to be a really good stock horse, and he vetted that horse and got it back into really top health, and he made an absolute gem of a stock horse out of that horse. But if you don't have a horse trained for stock work, well, horses are temperamental bastards. So what is it about racehorses that are different? Well, they're trained to be temperamental. They're trained to be angry, temperamental, fast-running bastards. And you don't need that in stock work. You need a horse that can be controlled, that understands the job it's got to do, can turn on its hind legs, just turn on the spot. You want a lot of maneuverability and work out of a stock horse that you would never expect from a racehorse. So there's just different training methods. And once you've trained a racehorse to be a racehorse, it's rarely ever going to be any good as a kid's horse. It's too temperamental. So kids' horses are a different story altogether. You know, pony club ponies, training them to jump things. Well, stock horses can jump things, but they're not really trained for that. You don't want your stock horses jumping fences. It's not necessary. Well, not always necessary. So, you know, different horses, different training. Race horses are temperamental, angry bastards, and they run fast. One of ours actually, the trotter, actually threw my wife, and she was unconscious. Not just unconscious, but had no idea where she was. She didn't come out for about 6 hours. So, you know, a horse is a dangerous thing. An untrained horse is a dangerous thing. A race horse is a dangerous thing. But the racing industry has to raise a lot of horses to find the fastest ones. And not every horse will make that cut. Now, some of the horses will go on to do other things, and some have good bloodlines, so they go on to do breeding. But again, you can't use every horse that way. And again, they only have a certain breeding life. What do you do with old horses? We don't eat them in this country. My mother's Dutch. She remembers horse being a bit of a delicacy when she grew up as a girl. But we don't eat horses in this country. Where do you think they go? They go to pet food. That's it. Anyone who doesn't understand that a horse has a limited lifespan, that if a horse breaks its leg, the chance of its leg healing so that it can run again, we shoot them when that happens, because it's easier on the horse to shoot it than to try and patch its leg. In a lot of cases. I've seen horses have their legs repaired. You don't want a bad break, though. Bad break and you shoot the damn thing. And that's not to say, you know, you can't like horses. Horses are beautiful animals if they're not trying to bite you, kick your shit on you. I mean, seriously, they are nice animals. They have a personality and, you know, and we like their faces. They're so pretty. That's why we're not allowed to kill them. But anyway, let's dig down this story, because I found where, judging by its worst behaviour, 2 key points emerge from the evidence as reported by 7:30. 1, racehorses in unacceptable numbers. Well, actually, in the numbers appropriate, otherwise we'd be flooded with racehorses, right? Are still ending their lives as pet food. Where do you think they're going to go? Are you going to start putting them on your plate? Just asking. Do you want them to have grassy paddocks for years and years? I mean, what's the average age of a horse? Between 18 and 25 years, isn't it? I think, from memory. I really have forgotten. But anyway, they're not short-lived. And now let's assume that the racing... I know the racing ages of horses varies a bit. And you know, trotters can be older than runners. So... we'll say 5 years is our average. Now that means you're looking for 20 years of horses being given paddocks to grazing because they're no good for anything else. Are you serious? Okay. This is the bit, though, that fucking gets up my nose. This is not illegal, but it is repugnant. Really? Repugnant to who? You sensitive vegan dipshit? Fucking hell. Look, you've got to do something with animals, right? You can't just go breeding cows forever and not do something with them. There's a purpose for them. They are raised with a purpose. We slaughter them, we eat them. Now, I know you fucking idiot vegans out there, you think we're just going to let them all go into the wild. But when I tell the vegans that there is no wild a domestic horse or a domestic cow or a domestic chicken came from, that these were bred for our purposes, they all want to just slaughter them all then. Oh, well, we'll just commit genocide. Because genocide's the cure, isn't it? I'm sure the horses are out there thinking right now, how about you just fucking kill us all, and then we don't have to worry about you making us into pet food. some horses have very good long lives. My horses had very good long lives. The old fella, he had a bad back, which is why he wasn't in racing anymore. The trotter, he was fast, but he just wasn't fast enough. He was a good race runner. But, they got retired out, and they were lucky. They found private ownership. I needed fence walkers. That's all I needed. I didn't need to do stock work. I just need to go around paddock fences and do fence work. And for that purpose, old race horses are fine. The supply is racing's problem to clean up immediately. What? Fucking hell. What do you want them to do? Stop breeding horses? Just stop having horses to race. How about we stop girls having little pony club ponies? Because where do you think pony club ponies go when they get too old? They don't all go out to bloody pasture either, Lots of horses, right, have a definite end date. And it is seen at a knackery. Don't fucking pretend it's not. All right, you'll have to shut down all the pony club the girls. You'll have to shut down all the all the stuff that comes from that. What's that? The people who do all the jumps. I don't fucking know what it's called at the moment. Brain. But you have to shut down the entire industry, because the horse industry, the horse sports, they all have a limited age by which a horse can work. And if a horse is no good for work, then a horse is only good for one thing: the knackery. Okay. Horses in slaughterhouses and the pet food industry are being subjected to horrific cruelty. Now, this bit, if this is true, and apparently there is an animal cruelty probe being launched after the videos, then on that score I can agree. I mean, we're not meant to be treating animals harshly. Horses can be very temperamental buggers and harder to move than some animals, but at the same time, we're meant to be doing our best by them. Well, if there is an investigation to be held, then an investigation should be held. What we don't need is shit like this. Jockey Laura Cheshire says she failed after recognising her horse slaughtered on camera. The Queensland jockey has described the horror of seeing a horse she rode for years killed in an abattoir on the ABC's 7:30 report. Well, the question here is, did she offer to buy the horse and put it to pasture? Did she offer to buy the horse and retrain it? Does she even fucking know how to train a horse? Does she know how to train a horse to do anything but race? What the fuck is she on about? Is she really trying to pretend she doesn't know what happens to old horses? Right? I'm a horse owner. I am a former horse owner. I have ridden many horses. I've ridden horses doing stock work and fence work. And I know what happens to old horses. She rode race horses. Where does she think all the horses that don't make the cut end up? I understand that they breed a lot of horses to take out the top pickings. But a lot of the horses bred at the bottom end of that chain still find homes with pony clubs and so forth. It doesn't all end the same way. But yes, a significant amount is going to. It's just the way the world is. How can you make this fucking about failing because you didn't... Well, apparently it's the industry's fault that you didn't take the horse and put it to pasture. Right? It's your fault. You're the one who was riding it. You were the one who was there. What the fuck do you think you were on? Anyway, I just really get the shit at this stuff. I do not understand words like repugnant being used. Why is it repugnant? yeah, they talk about the greyhound ban because, cruelty in training greyhounds. Well, I don't think they're the same thing. And they managed to shut down the whole fucking greyhound racing industry, more or less, didn't they? And who did that serve? Didn't particularly serve anyone. Except your fucking flinchy, vegans, oversensitive people who think we should all just put our pets and our farm stock down and commit mass genocide of domesticated animals so that we don't have to worry about their welfare in the future. We don't have to worry about whether the little kitties and the puppies that are born ownerless or, nobody wants to own them. They all go to the little shelter and they live happy until someone comes and takes them away and makes them their little pet. Because nobody's fucking gassing them, are they? Nobody's fucking giving them lethal injections. PETA doesn't kill tens of thousands every year. You're all fucking crackpots, that's what you fucking are. Where do you think all the unwanted animals end up? It's no different if you're slaughtering a cow for our consumption. The difference being the cattle industry the abattoir industry has been watched for a long time, and we've had to make that more and more humane. When we can make the knackeries humane, fine. Let's do that. But don't pretend like we're not going to kill animals. All my next door neighbours who couldn't fucking vet the cats that they went and got, that have produced something like a dozen kittens in the last 2 years. Who the fuck's taking responsibility for those cats? Are you going to get up in arms about the cat ownership industry? No, because no one's fucking looking after that shit. The horses in racing are big, they're pretty, they look nice. You give a fuck because it's an industry that you can kill. You can't kill my next door neighbour for having so many bloody unvetted kittens running around the joint. I know this one was ranty, and I don't give a shit, because this really pisses me off, this crap. What's going to be left of humanity except being polite to each other and not hurting anything? We're just going to become fucking shells of anything humanity was in the past. We're not going to create or invent or do anything original or new, because anything we attempt is just going to be shut down. Because someone's offended. Someone's sensitivities are me feels. Fuck off. I've been the anti-theocrat. May your gods remain fictional. I'll see you in the next one.